Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Windward Buddhist Temple Dharma service. My name is Gerald Matsuda, and I'll be your MC for today. Cynthia Rodriguez, one of our certified ministers, lay assistants, will be officiating today's service. We will begin today's service with the ringing of the temple bell, or Kansho, that signifies the beginning of the temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist Temple. So please sit quietly in your seat while it's being rung. If you are able, please rise for the meditation followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation in Pali and English. And this is found in the red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 7.
For guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu.
Please be seated, everyone. Today's sutra is Praises of the Buddha, and it is found in our red Jodo Shinshu service book on page 112.
Your face shines in great splendor, boundless, wondrous dignity, such the greatness of your life, beyond all comparison, brightness of the sun and moon, and the shining mani jewels, when compared to your brilliance, seem to us like blackest ink. Tathagata's countenance transcends all comparison. The great voice of awakening resounds through the 10 quarters. Your precepts, learning, effort, meditation, wisdom are virtues beyond all compare, ultimate, supreme, and rare. Your deep meditation has fathomed all the Dharma sea, to the limits and the depths of all things the Buddhas teach. Ignorance, anger, and greed, the world-honored one has none. Like a lion among men, measureless your great virtue, vast are your great virtuous deeds, wisdom deep and so sublime. Your radiant luminous light shakes all the world's foundations. When I become a Buddha, equal to the Dharma King, I will transcend birth and death, liberating all beings. My giving, disciplined mind, precepts, patience, and effort, meditation, and wisdom shall be supreme, unsurpassed. I will attain Buddhahood, everywhere fulfill my vow, bringing to all those in fear great peace and tranquility. Though there are myriad Buddhas, beyond measure, beyond count, and great sages numberless, Like the grains of Ganges sands, I will honor each of them, equally accepting none. Even more importantly, I will seek the supreme way, even though all Buddha worlds are countless as Ganges sands, even though all lands and realms are boundless without measure, yet my light shall reach them all and illumine every place. Such shall be my perfect work, such my power infinite. When I attain Buddhahood, my land will be first and best, place of practice transcendent, its people sublime and rare, land equal to nirvana, beyond all comparison, with pity for everyone, I will carry all across, all who come from 10 quarters to be born into my land, to attain pure joyful mind, peace and great tranquility. Be my witness, Buddha, please. Confirm my sincerity. Now that I have made my vows, I will strive to fulfill them. Buddhas of the 10 quarters, with your wisdom unhindered, may all of these honored ones know my deepest intention, even though my body must bear great pain and suffering. I will persevere and strive patiently without regret. Namandabu, 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 Namandabu. The virtue of Amida's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of peace. Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu.
If you are able, please rise for the recitation, Golden Chain of Love. And this is found in the Jodo Shinshu service book on page 126. Then please remain standing for the Gatha, Namu Amida Butsu, found in the Purple Praises of the Buddha book on page 144. I am the link
in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I would try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namaste.
Please be seated. This morning, our Dharma talk speaker is Mr. Neil Yamamoto.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And even though we are on the 11th day of January, may I please say Happy New Year to everyone. And as I was preparing my message for today, I went through several drafts and several different topics. I even contemplated not talking about food. But you know me, and somehow, some way, I'm going to link my Dharma message to food. But today, my topic is about more than just food. Today I wanted to share a little bit about the traditions many families in Hawaii observe during New Year's. And yes, don't worry, Dennis, we're still gonna talk about food. Growing up, my family observed many Japanese traditions around Shogatsu, or New Year's. We'd make certain foods, we'd put up certain different decorations all around the house in the week between Christmas and New Year's. We'd put up a karomatsu, we'd hang a shimenawa, and make all kinds of foods that we never ate at any other time of the year. Stuff like kanteng and yokang, kuromame, somen made with menpachi or Thai, kombumaki, which I never ate, and a lot of stuff that I did eat. Stuff like ham, shrimp tempura, teriyaki beef sticks, and sushi catered by Fukuya Delicatessen. Although this year we got ours from Ige's and it wasn't quite the same. No matter what my feast was, we always had other tangible decorations and traditions all around our house. First and foremost, we made sure that our house had decorative pine or matsu on either side of our main entrance. These were meant to welcome the Shinto deity Toshigami-sama, who would bring prosperity and good fortune into your home. And even though we weren't Shinto or really very religious when I was a kid at all, the practice of decorating our entryway with pine branches became a vital tradition in my house. So up on the screen, you'll see the karomatsu on the right there. But we did ours a little different, and I just realized this, that what we would put up and what we put up on either side of our entryway was something called a kamibana, which is pine branches, and you put them on either side of the door, meant to do the same thing, meant to welcome the good spirits. We also made sure that there was a shimenawa hanging from our doorway. It was yet another tradition rooted in Shinto beliefs. The shimenawa was meant to purify spaces and denote areas their spirits would dwell. According to the Shinto legend, the shimenawa was meant to ward off evil spirits and welcome the good ones. And again, even though my family wasn't Shinto or very religious at all as a kid, when my brother and I were children, it was and remains a tradition at our house. But perhaps most important, the most important tradition of all, was the making of mochi. Usually done on the Saturday after Christmas, my family would gather, uncles, aunties, cousins, and best friends, to make mochi. What I remember most, though, was watching football on Saturday afternoon while mom, grandma, and auntie were busy cutting and shaping the steaming hot piles of mochi we would make. Many of those pieces of mochi would end up in traditional ozoni mochi soup, or grilled with a sweet shoyu glaze, or pan-fried with a sweetened kinako soybean flour dusting. But always, for the first batch of the year, mom and grandma would shape what they called the kazari or kagami mochi, 2 mounds of mochi stacked upon each other as an offering. Topped by a bitter orange, the kagami mochi symbolized harmony, continuity, and good fortune. There was always a specific way in which we presented the kagami mochi. It was placed upon a moroba, or fern and leaf arrangement, flat fern and leaves, then placed on top of a piece of white hanshi paper, and all together, the mochi and the tangerine, moroba, and hanshi paper were all placed upon a sanpo, or a wooden stand, with a saiwaigami in front, which was the image of Shinto gods, the daikoku, or the medetai, to bring good fortune. all of those traditions when I was a kid, and even now, were an integral part of my family's New Year's celebrations. They were almost as important as eating sashimi or tempura or teriyaki beef on New Year's Day. But what happens when you can't get a certain integral part of your tradition? Maybe you can't get a dai-dai, the bitter orange with the leaf on it. Maybe marukai doesn't have hanshi paper or saiwaigami. Or if you're like me this year, you couldn't for the life of you find the moroba, the flat fern decoration. Not having the accoutrements for your Kagami Mochi display meant that I had to run around to seven different stores in 2 days, all in vain. And there just wasn't any moroba to be found. I would ask the clerks at Times Supermarket, at Tokyo Central. I even went as far as the Times Supermarket in Kalihi. And more often than not, the response I got was, "What is that?" And so it got pretty frustrating. And I felt myself almost getting angry that I couldn't find what I was looking for. But finally, I just kind of gave up. And I was very reluctant. I didn't want to not have the things that made our tradition our tradition. Then a very dear friend of mine, who is here in Temple today, asked me point blank, "Why do you do those things? You're not Shinto." I said, "Yeah, but they're traditions." And to be honest, I couldn't answer other than to say, "We just do." So that exchange with my very good friend got me thinking. And while those traditions are very important, the items associated with those traditions, like the dai-dai, like the moroba, the sanpo, and the shimenawa, or the saiwaigami and the hanshi paper, while they're important, they're not as important as the intent and the heart behind the tradition. And as I thought about today's message, I was reminded about this little black cat, the Wabi-Sabi cat, which some of you may know about. I was reminded about the concept of Wabi-Sabi, or perfect imperfection, or finding beauty in imperfections. Embracing the concept of Wabi-Sabi meant that even though my mochi display wasn't exactly perfect and right by traditional standards, it was perfect because our heart and soul went into its creation. Eventually, every one of my New Year's traditions for 2026 will fall away. They'll be taken down, put away, or ceremoniously burned to ash. And what will remain is the memory of all of those traditions. Perfect or otherwise, embracing Wabi-Sabi meant that even though they were imperfect, they were still perfect. And I can only hope that the Wabi-Sabi offerings that my family made during this New Year's celebration this year will yield all the good fortune and blessings that we all hope for. And by the looks of it, as long as we accept what the Wabi-Sabi cat says, that life is Wabi-Sabi, perfectly imperfect, we'll reap all the good fortune we need. And as an aside, last week we were told about my good friend Joy back there. She talked about the theme of the Honpa Hongwanji, and she didn't talk about cats. And I didn't really talk about food this week. So I kind of got ordered to volunteer to put a cat in my presentation today. So there's the cat, you know. But please join me in Gassho. I will liberate you just as you are. This is the calming voice of Amida. Namu Amida Butsu. Thank you very much and Happy New Year.
Thank you very much, Neil. If you're able, please rise for the Gatha, Quest of Life. And this is found in the Praises of the Buddha book again, page 164. And please continue to stand for the Gatha Nembutsu. And this is found in page 145 of the same book.
take my refuge in Amida Buddha and dedicate myself to his service. May his teachings guide me during the day, in my work, and in my play. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu.
Please be seated. Thank you for attending today's service. Now it's time for announcements with our President, Dennis Tashiro.
Morning, everyone. It's still a new year, but it's already going into the second week. So, like last year and the year before and the year before that, time flies. Thank you, Neil, for your message. I'm disappointed. I didn't see the shrimp tempura and the barbecue on the stick and the, wow.
Dennis, we ate it before you took pictures.
Oh, okay. But always, Neil, I enjoy your Dharma talks. Thank you, Cynthia, for officiating today's service. Thank you, Gerald, for being the MC. Thank you, David, for being our greeter. Thank you, Lisa, for playing the piano. Thank you, Prudence, for bringing the Kansho. And of course, thank you, Ryan, for recording today's service. We have a new guest, Diane Uenishi. Is that correct? Yeah. Diane mentioned that she used to come years ago. So I don't know if you know some of the people here, but welcome back. And also welcome back to Christina. And welcome to our newest member, Todd. Next Sunday will be our Ho'onko, or Shinran Shonen's memorial service. Reverend Satoshi Kaimi Pono Tomioka of Puna Hongwanji will be our guest minister. He'll be officiating and providing a Dharma message. Most of you remember Reverend Saul, who retired last July, and he left a message on YouTube. Brian has it up there, and I'll read it. So, Windward Buddhist Temple, Happy New Year 2026, WBT. I wish for the continuing success of WBT and the Sangha. I am not doing so well with retirement. I miss Hawaii. I keep my spiritual cultivation and now go to a Vietnamese Buddhist temple every Sunday for religious services. But I no tell I am a former Shinshu minister. I listen to the Dharma from the monks. Hopefully, I get a kidney transplant in 2026. The wait time here in Texas is much shorter. Namandabu. So it's so nice to hear from him. Today is, of course, the second Sunday, which means, Ethan, bingo! So good luck, everyone. Are there any other messages or announcements? Okay, if not, let's do words of thanksgiving for refreshment. We are truly grateful for this wonderful food, a gift of life. May we share its benefits with all beings. As we partake of this food, let us remember Amida Buddha's compassion, which surrounds all people and all forms of life. Namu Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Thank you.